Any questions?
So far, is it interesting? Do you enjoy this? So, oh my God, now we are live. Okay, so the good news, we are live now. So we are live from Tallinn, Estonia, Lift99 Hub. Actual live event. We have audience. People are sitting here. Say actually real people. There is no like some candies or pandas, whatever. Actual people. That's like, already something. So can you, like back in 2016, we was looking with you, I think that Teague did this famous like things and they was drinking. We have just this time Värska.
Yeah, and it's the wrong type of Värska.
Yeah.
I'm actually supporting the other camp, the smaller company.
So, but the good news, guys, is that today is very interesting talk. So we are live today because it's Salto Growth Camp going. I think that I lost already count. It's the number 4. And we are doing it online because we can't do physical events. This is the only physical event we do this week. And the reason why we have this talk today is that we have Martin Henk here, very famous Portuguese entrepreneur. Was just flying to this summer to Estonia and share us his experience. The good news, I happen to know when he was Estonian, now he's Portuguese. So 2006, sorry. Fucking hell. It's like 14 years. And why he's here to share the success. There's many failures, but now he's successful, living in Lisbon, doing investment. And we counted together with Martin Tajur, who is another Martin, not today in the live, said 44 investments. So what a ride. So Martin Henk. So when I hired you in the Estonian newspaper, which name is Eesti Päevaleht, as a sales guy, and you applied to the internet specialist.
Yes. So I didn't apply as a sales guy. There was a banner in the kind of on the news site looking for an internet specialist. I was like, that's me. And it turned out kind of the job was selling banners. And it also turned out that I was really, really bad at it. Luckily, so I spent maybe a couple of weeks just kind of picking my nose and not understanding what I needed to do. And then Ragnar asked me to his office and says, dude, we need to talk. And I was, oh shit, I'm getting fired.
And the one thing which we was lucky because when I worked in Estonian newspaper, my boss was our cook. And together we figured out that, you need to, even if you do job listing, you need to do advertising, you need to do marketing. And we were so proud we was building Estonian newspaper new portal and we wanted to just do advertising. That's why we didn't want to tell we hiring sales guy. Actually, we managed to hire a sales guy as well, Elor.
Yes, and he could actually sell.
Yeah, and he's amazing. Yeah, and he actually could sell. He's today living in Tel Aviv, in Israel, and he could sell. He's Estonian, but he's also like Jewish, so he can sell. But the good news when I was reading Martin Henk profile was like, he actually had startup before Eesti Päevaleht, Bron.ee. Can you tell about because you was failing before I was famous already.
Yes. So that was the first startup I failed at. It's an interesting story because it's still alive. The company was founded in 2004, and pretty quickly we got to 20 paying customers. And now it's 2020, and the company still has 20 paying customers. So it became this interesting zombie startup that kind of didn't die, but didn't grow either. And some customers left and some new customers came, but it was always kind of about 20 paying customers. And we had 4 founders who kind of one by one left during the first 2 years. I was the last one standing, so we kind of kept the servers running and kind of supported the customers and sent out invoices. But it didn't really pay any bills. So I needed to apply for a real job at the same time. At some point, kind of during the Pipedrive years, I had a successful exit for €0. I just kind of gave the company away to someone that had the energy to run it.
But amazing is that, 2006, I didn't know nothing about startups. Skype was around. I didn't know it, by the way.
Hey, Ragnar, do you hear me? The microphone is off.
And real estate companies wanted to have a banner and show their listings, but because everyone was buying up real estate like there was no tomorrow, the listings were changing pretty much kind of every hour, and no one could update the banners. So I came up with a way for them to automatically update the listings inside the flash banners, which was kind of leading edge technology in 2006. And Elor was able to sell these automatically updating banners. So we made a really good team together.
And other thing I think about, I remember we actually did first like video blogging 2006. We had like some, I remember that we had like exactly Maris who wanted to like speak to camera, and you was recording and then just like worked all night long from your like, you know, just free time, and blah, next whatever day, not day, but week we had video blogging 2006.
Yes. And just a couple of days ago, my older son is 12 and he Googled me and he found all of these videos on my YouTube. Ardo is telling dirty jokes on kind of Estonian daily newspaper, like half official kind of video podcast. It was quite an undertaking. Didn't kind of really take off, but it was again bleeding edge at that time.
Come on, because you was reading already like Deek.com Reddit. Did you also was already 2016?
I was more of a Deek.com guy.
Yeah. I didn't know. At least he went to the job and talked with some things. I was going and looking. Okay, so there's some guys drinking beer and doing video blogging. That sounds cool.
There was this kind of new, really exciting blog called TechCrunch.
Really? 2006? You was reading that?
Yeah, well, it was more like 2008 maybe, but
Okay.
kind of early days.
Because I remember that, you know, we really was like a rebels in the Estonian newspapers that we had, like the third person was Elor and we had few more. But the problem was that everything what we do turned to be kind of popular in Estonia, but not popular in the house. And, you know, like, because like I launched some kind of entertainment portal, which was weekend.de. Sorry, it was just very cheap. You just go to nightclub and say, take photos, and you know, sorry, if people are drunk, you can get great photos. And I did it like I was in the day, like my job title was internet director, literally. So all internet was mine. So and so we launched that, which was very popular. There's one problem. No one didn't like it. Is in conservative newspaper, which is launched like century ago or something.
Well, yeah, the journalists weren't really big fans of these half-naked ladies on the photos.
But we had so much traffic, and you know, this global traffic. And what was it? Okay, so we managed to build this universal like banner, which was like people was like, wow, on 24, which was before Clever, same guys by the way. I think that who built it on 24 later made Clever, and they was using and was our biggest clients. Do you remember that? Because it was like an online portal for the furniture.
Yes.
Yes, and they was using it with like paying us money. But anyway, so it was the rebel time and ended up not so well. Do you like what was your case? Because my case was different.
Well, you went away and then kind of everything turned out really boring. So I ended up going as well.
Yeah.
That was kind of, it was 1 year of a lot of shit happening, and then suddenly, boom, everything ended. So kind of we all left.
But the next secret, which you don't know, is that we had one guy helping us to do design, which happened to be Martin Henk, Pipedrive shirt co-founder, and he was this moment like I think at 15 or 16, and he was a high school student in Rocca al Mare High School, and I found him because Martin Willi, co-founder of Bolt, found him when he was 14. So I actually hired already experienced guy. So when he was 16 or whatever, and he did all Estonian newspaper design, I remember it was 5,000 Estonian crowns by the way. I remember like he did all design like from the scratch most likely. And then yeah, all this journey ended up because one day I'm going to the Estonian newspaper director, and he's super cool guy. I still like him. He said, you know, I don't have choice. I don't give a fuck. I can tell the story. So the chief editor told, there's two options. I leave or she leaves. You know, and you know, I was leaving, because I was like, okay, what the fuck. And yeah, you was going to Elisa, which is Estonian telco, build something.
Yeah. After that point, my life has been kind of mostly about helping people move off of spreadsheets. So kind of there's so many things in kind of all types of companies that are basically done in Excel. And that was also the case in Elisa. So I also helped build their new website, but kind of a big part of what I did there was also kind of figuring out ways to internally build tools so that they wouldn't have to use Excel that much. And that also kind of kept going in Pipedrive and kind of a little bit even kind of today. So it's, but yeah, basically I went there again, spent a year at a big company. It didn't actually work out, left after a year.
Yeah, because one moment I remember I was going also to telco, but this telco was Starman.
Starman,
yeah. But I don't remember one moment I was like, Starman is cool, is paying good money. I did TV, by the way. So I just launched TV in Estonia, which is cool, but Estonia is so small. So I sold my TV after I left Starman. I don't have TV already after Starman, so 10 plus years. But anyway, one moment I made unitedcats.com, which was in Estonia, kutsu.ee, kisu.ee. And actually, you know what is amazing? You wasn't co-founder. I'm still surprised why the fuck I didn't pick you, because I managed to hire back you as a CTO. Do you remember when did you join?
I joined maybe a year later.
Really? So
Yeah.
I was building this alone with Martin Tajur and Lauri Laineste and some other people. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was already global, most likely.
Yeah, it started to go global because
So-
you were really good at attracting all of these people from Latin America with Facebook ads. Facebook had just come around, and Ragnar was kind of one of the pioneers, kind of paying very little money for huge amounts of traffic from Latin America to kind of come to the site and upload the pictures of your dogs and your cats and kind of interact with other cat ladies on the site.
Oh my God, this was hilarious. Like, oh, come on, first of all. So it started 2007, I believe. So you joined 2008, but in the spring, most likely. And
before the crisis.
yeah, before
shortly.
the crisis, because everything goes well. I am the most naive founder in Estonia startup history. I'm going to pitch to Ambient Sound Investment. Amazing guys, still good friend with Ahti Heinla. Not commenting more. But I'm pitching them, and I'm so naive. I don't understand that if you pitch to the investors, you should think about how they get money back, by the way. I didn't think about that, but they liked me. They was giving me money. I would never sign anything similar, but they give me money. But it was 2008 in the spring when you joined, similar time. And these guys actually believed they can do every week new investment. Didn't happen, by the way. But okay, you were joining, we are building, and one moment we have to fundraise again. And now this is 2008 autumn. Do you remember that time?
That was a really interesting time because obviously it wasn't a good time. Kind of those of you too young to know, that was a really big global financial crisis because some people were kind of selling loans too eagerly. Anyway, kind of no one wanted to give us money, and kind of there was a moment. I think we didn't have enough money, kind of not kind of for salaries, but also the servers were almost kind of out of money. So instead of getting paid my salary, I lent money to the company to keep the servers running, which was kind of maybe not the best idea, but kind of somehow it worked out.
I think that I paid back you, by the way.
Yeah. In the end, it worked out. Kind of, he was able to raise money despite all the kind of problems, and we managed to run the company for almost 2 years still after that.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think that the darkest time of United Talks was when we had the servers and we had the backup, but it went down and backup didn't work.
Well, yeah, because we had the servers and there was a backup, but no one was checking the backup. And at some point the backup failed and no one noticed. And then when the main drive also failed and kind of there was nothing left.
But I remember that, we had Skype chat, like what the fuck is Slack? Slack wasn't around. And there was one guy who asked, is this the end? And that was like, he lived in Tartu, which is good thing, because I literally wanted to go to the car and just smash his face and just do something for him, because I remember we was calling anyone in Estonia, and we found Eds, who is ex-Skyper, and he was one of the guys who helped us, and we went live after 24 hours.
Well, yeah, there's two legendary guys, Eds and Jaanus, who had their own hosting company at that time, and our hosting company said, it's done. Like the drives are broken. There's nothing we can do. Your business is done. And Eds and Jaanus said, fuck that shit. And they somehow managed to get these hosting people to turn the server on, and they somehow managed to access the dead drive and get the data back, which was, I still to this day, I don't understand how they did it. But they managed to get the data back, and after 3 days of downtime, we got the stuff up back and running. But that was really interesting times. Yes, I was also I was living in Spain at the time. I was also away, and everyone was in the office scrambling, doing some crazy stuff, and I was in Spain, and all of it was. 2008 was very different from today. Remote wasn't that common. Didn't really have the good tools. And the servers were physical servers. There was a freaking physical server somewhere in the closet. It wasn't a cloud service with infinite backup, S3 storage magic. So yeah, times were different 10 years ago.
So you was really pioneering remote working. Maybe you was the...
I was pioneering failing in remote working when I was in Spain.
But the good news, I actually managed to get some funding together, started to fundraise in October 2008. Never do that. This was the moment when Sequoia sent out pitch deck, RIP, good times is over. And I was the most naive guy going around, hi, we have this amazing startup, United Talks, and we have isn't that moment we had maybe 100,000 users, whatever. And, and so happy to be in Chile, Venezuela, Italy, and Estonia. We actually managed to do revenue in Baltics because there was none of our competitors here, because still none, by the way. But anyway, so we managed to fundraise. We fundraised 2009 spring. I think that I talked 10 investors. And we then started to build, everything went good. But the problem was we didn't make money. And surprising. Actually, our investors was expecting us to make money. I was shocked.
Well, that was one of the problems with United Talks. The early success of United Talks in late 2007, early 2008, when there was so much money around that this startup was actually making a lot of revenue. Like pet food companies were making big advertising campaigns on the site, and the investors were looking at, this thing can make money. So they invested, and then there was crisis and no more revenues, but the investors were still expecting us to make revenues, which weren't happening. So yeah, that created a little bit of a tension.
Yeah, what was the coolest thing? Again, I'm ignoring all of the contracts which I have done in my lifetime, because just you can go to court, I'm fine with that. Actually, when we signed the United Talks investment agreement, we had investment agreement, and one of the files that I needed to add to that was budget. I'm not kidding. I needed to prepare the budget which I signed. I don't know if it's digital or not, that's not important, but I had a budget added on to investment contract, how much I can spend and how much I predict the revenue. And can you imagine, I actually hit at least one part of that. My prediction about cost was right, by the way, not about the revenue. So which was a sad indeed. So one moment, I think that we had investment by tranches. And if you can get any number, only one value from this talk, don't ever, ever, ever sign contract which you have investment by tranches. Just don't. What that means, they will tell you, we invest to you, let's say 1 million. No, it was not 1 million. It was maybe 1 million crowns, whatever. But we invest you 500,000 today and 500,000 after 6 months, or usually 9 to 10 months, if you hit these goals. The problem is you're not getting that goals. And we didn't. So sadly, this made a tension in the board because I had actually a board, and you was not in the board. But I remember first of all,
because I was not the co-founder,
Okay,
and because the board decided not to give us options either. It's like I was promised options, but the board was like, we should give like workers, employees will get shares. No, not from my shares. So kind of we never, none of the employees actually got any options, and that was also funny. So yeah, I wasn't in the board or kind of among the owners either.
Yeah, so I remember we had a board meeting, and if you think that your board is tough, then fuck you. You haven't seen the board from the hell. So my board was that I need to prepare 1 week, and you go and you will get smashed and beaten literally like in middle age. This was my experience. I was like shaking fucking in the after board. Sorry guys if you was in the board, but I'm just honest today. And okay, so we are getting this nice experience, but amazing thing with Henk was that 2019 autumn, we understood our business model.
Kind of 10 years ahead all the time.
2009, sorry,
2009,
I'm getting too old. Sorry guys. 2009 autumn, we understood, we relied on the advertising, not working. And then we had the famous project, which was United Talks Restart, or?
Yeah, we rebuilt the entire thing, which surprisingly, actually, kind of on the technical side, it worked. It was a really fun project. We learned a lot, and we were able to rebuild this entire thing, kind of make sure that it actually runs and can be kind of scalable and stuff like that. Didn't save the company, but kind of the experience of rebuilding this entire thing was a lot of fun.
So we launched this in November, and we had a hard deadline to launching the thing in the 1st of March, wasn't it?
Yep. And kind of the last day when we were kind of transferring the data and kind of booting up the new servers took obviously all night. Some of the marketing people were sleeping under the tables because kind of they were waiting. Okay, now when maybe like at some point the new site will come up and we can start doing communication and kind of so yeah, one more hour. I was like, okay, 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, we managed to get it up kind of early March 2nd. So.
And this might be the only project in all of my life which actually launched in the right time.
Yeah, might have been, probably in my lifetime too.
So, and it's still like, so I remember that I was so stressed that I was like, I need to get off the people who is working. I am just like, I should offer coffee, but I was actually going like week vacation before that because I didn't want to stress out the team. And
were you in kind of Chile or Venezuela?
No, it's Venezuela actually.
Yeah,
like literally place where there's no mobile phone connection and your chance getting shot is pretty normally high. So I didn't get shot, by the way. So don't go to Venezuela now, sorry. But I was going to Venezuela and we launched in the right time, which is like, as I said, even today, both of us lifetime experience to launch the thing, planning in November, launching in March, and you launching it. And I had board meeting in the March. Didn't get well. So I was fired literally. Like they asked me to just send the letters that you are whatever fucking away. I was like, okay. And then things fell apart. How did you remember that time?
It was a strange time. I guess I was lucky because I didn't get the options and I wasn't one of the founders. So for me, it was like, all right, the company is bankrupt. I'm gonna get fired. At the time, Estonia already had really good kind of social security stuff, so I just kind of got my benefits and yeah, for me it wasn't a very stressful time. However, the other Martin, who was a founder, was the last standing board member. He had a really stressful time of kind of wrapping up the company.
Because actually, I need to tell, like, I didn't know, but so basically, I was in Estonia, it's juhatus, it's board, but like, so they asked me to resign. Okay, I resign, I leave the company, all good. Not good, actually. But Martin Henk was the last board member, our co-founder. But the problem is that his papers was like valid until I think the end of May or some days of June. And United Talks is one of the few companies in Estonia history which existed without board, because his documents was like also not valid. There was nobody on the board, because nobody didn't want to go to that board. And but the good news is that we actually, one of the most hidden part of our story is that we definitely one moment understood that this thing is going to the shit and we will be famous for the totally wrong reason. And so we made everything, but we failed indeed, because there was an article which I was calling to my mom and said, please don't buy Eesti Express. There is a bad article, don't read it, because no, it was so bad. I was like, and what was, let me repeat, we started in the media. So we know the guy, and he's an amazing guy. He's building this foundation about some people.
Cancer.
Yes. So he actually
raising money for cancer.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. But this article was just shit. It was like that. Article started like, I played company to bankruptcy. So if there are any lawyers in on this room, no, thank God. Maybe somebody in live. Like, this is criminal case in Estonia. But the good news, I followed this fucking budget, which I signed until end of the company. So they hired the best, I don't want to name the names, but whatever, the best lawyers who got through, and there was nothing. But they took my mobile phone away because I was buying using company money. But no, they didn't take my dog away. So that's false news. But Skiteam, which is the most hidden part of our story ever.
Yeah. So in between United Talks and Pipedrive, there was another company called Skiteam, which is sort of a kind of a beginning of many things. Actually,
I think that it was in the spring. We go to the Pärnu, we rent out some cottage, but it was March or April.
So during building UnitedTalks.com, we realized that all of the project management tools were really, really bad. Didn't like any of them, obviously. Like when you're a developer, your first project is a project management tool, and the next one is a CRM, obviously. I did both. But the project management tool that we built together with Taur and Ragnar was actually pretty good. We liked it a lot, and we used it during the rebuild of United Talks, and kind of maybe it worked because we launched on time. So we thought, okay, let's spin that into a separate company and start doing that. And that was many, many years before Asana, many, many, many years before Trello. Might have actually been something, who knows? But we also kind of had, I think it was definitely my first garage experience. I don't know about you, but we went to this cottage in the middle of the woods for 48 hours and kind of worked ourselves to kind of crazy and built this thing pretty much in one weekend.
No, actually, this was also my first garage experience. This basically influenced me to start Garage 48, because we literally went and rent some cottage which looked super ugly, but it was, I think it was actually, I'm not sure, but it was snow, by the way.
Yeah, it was in Pärnu. We actually skied. I'm really, really bad on skis. It was a funny sight. So we that took half an hour. Rest of the time we were coding. But yeah, it was.
It was most likely March or February 2010.
Well, there was snow still.
Yeah, exactly. And after that happened, two things. First of all, in the last, I think, the 10 months of the United Talks, we met Urmas and Timo from Wine & Co, very famous company. No one knows anymore, sorry. But at that time...
It was the biggest sales consultancy in the Baltics.
No, in Estonia.
Famous. Well, they also had offices in...
Okay.
It was big. It was famous.
It was huge, and we was like, wow, they're helping us. And for one moment, we kind of felt that we might be open. And I got the email from Urmas, and he basically approaching me said, we have been looking CRM market like long time. And we want to hire some people to build a CRM. And I was like, the context is I am beaten down to the desk. I'm just not like zero. I'm like minus 100. Because I am the biggest loser in Estonian history after, I don't know, the Lembit or whatever, who lost our independence in the 13th century. So, and I said, no, you can't hire us, but we can partner up. And this email, I still have it, and this started a new conversation, which ended up very slowly forming what started to be Pipedrive. And you most likely saw one moment specification of the 50 or 60 pages.
Well, yeah, like Timo and Urmas had been doing sales consultancy for more than 10 years, and they always hated the tools they were using. They hated the tools they had to recommend to their customers. And at some point, they, well, first of all, they bought Microsoft Dynamics for a huge amount of money, like 1 million Estonian crowns or 500,000 Estonian crowns. It was kind of insane amount of money for software because that was the best CRM in the world. And they hated it. No one in the company was using it. Everyone still had the sales pipeline on the wall with Post-it notes. And they decided to build their own. And they hired a guy who wrote down a specification document, a 100-page document. It was kind of a book if you print it out, and gave it to them and said, well, here it is. It's the perfect sales software. Take it to a software company and they will build it for you. And Timo and Urmas were like, like didn't know too much about software development at that time, but that sounded like a crazy idea. So they never did it. But that book is still somewhere in the Pipedrive office. So yeah, that didn't work out, but kind of a couple of years later, yeah, we teamed up and decided to give it another go to build a sales tool that salespeople would actually want to use. And that became, well, first of all, it became Growty, which wasn't, well, Urmas wanted to call it Crocobird, which wasn't a good name. Then we decided that Growty is much better than Crocobird, which isn't a very high bar. So, but then, luckily, a couple of months later, we decided that Pipedrive was an even better name.
But you know, at that time, I think that, so we are now in the 2010 June, you know, when all of this magic happens. I had, by the way, same time, first Garage 48, 2010 April, managed to build that, and then we started the Pipedrive. But actually, the one thing I remember, which is crazy, we had the case, and this thing, like United Talks thing, burned down so many people in the highest thing ever. And Martin, our great friend, was also burned down, and he was not convinced to join. And one moment,
yeah, he said that he is not going to join a startup again.
Yeah, and we actually was, I don't care again. We actually discussed the thing with Tõnu Runnel.
Yeah, there were other options for a designer, but then kind of in the end we decided that Tajur, even kind of half time and kind of in kind of weekends and then lunch breaks, is a better value than any other option out there.
Yeah,
and it was a good decision.
It was the best choice ever. So we forced down these 5 founders, which was, I think, that I would say that, at least for me, and you can say what you feel, for me, lifetime decision, because this founder team was, I think, that for this company, like best ever. I can't imagine better founders team.
Yeah, so having 5 founders in a company, especially because we also had Peep, who was the first investor, was basically the 6th founder in terms of kind of split, was stupid in many ways. Kind of having 5 founders from the get-go, kind of you get diluted kind of really early on, and we were really different. This bunch of people, kind of, it's really difficult to find a more different bunch of people from each other. None of it should have worked. It was kind of really stupid. Also, kind of Peep, the initial investor, everyone told him, dude, you are so stupid. You should not invest all of your life saving into a CRM company. There's 200 CRM companies. They're all bad. Kind of, there's no point. It will fail. Well, Peep was kind of nice enough to still invest, and we still kind of founded the company with 5 founders. Definitely a good decision. Somehow this kind of mix of completely different personalities and kind of nut jobs that we all were, somehow it worked. And I'm totally sure that if we had missed even one of these 5 people, then it would not have worked. Yeah. Somehow it kind of, this mix made it happen.
I remember that, say, Urmas and Timo went to the like serious guys, like some serious lawyers. I don't know what the company, like most likely this guy should be executed. But they looked, this deal, what they wanted to do, you shouldn't do. These guys are criminals. They will like end up in jail, whatever. And they sent me, but the cool thing about Timo and Urmas was, they said, we don't give a fuck, we will make this deal as we agreed.
Yeah, kind of, you need to admire the vision of these 3. So they had this successful company, Wine and Partners, And Ragnar was in the newspaper kind of 2 weeks ago, and kind of investors were claiming that he kind of spent all of the investor money on, I don't know what. Kind of, I was working in an office that didn't have freaking curtains. We didn't have kind of lampshades. We just kind of, it was as bare bones as it could be, like no free lunches or any of that shit. And kind of they were complaining that Ragnar was spending money. No, he wasn't spending anything. So, but kind of the newspaper said that he's the devil. But kind of Timo and Urmas and Pep decided, okay, let's go into business with these guys. Good decision in hindsight.
Yeah, so that's why it started very well. We was frugal. I remember we applied to the seed camp. Seed camp said, this growthy thing is not cool. But seed camp has reached me out several times. They said biggest mistake. But we started to use, like, the beauty of Pipedrive, we launched this in literally with like months, a little bit more. Because I remember in July, we didn't pay any salary. I still made this like thing between United Talks and Pipedrive. We had, you actually was paid by government. You had this whatever like unemployment thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I was fine. Thank you, Estonian government. Was a good investment. I paid some taxes since. Should be fine.
Yeah, and but I didn't have that. I don't know why I didn't get. I was board member. Board member doesn't get unemployment payment, fuckers. So I needed to work, and I was doing consultancy, and because the first year we didn't pay any salary. So one moment we hired first employee, which was Elar. It was 2010 autumn, and then 2011, we actually.
You again went to Chile at some point.
No, but it was in the January, by the way. So, but what was important, in the March, we launched payments with Wirecard.
Yes.
Wirecard, by the way. Hi, Wirecard.
Yeah. So despite everything going on with Wirecard today, I'm really thankful for them, because back then it was the only company that was willing to kind of work with an Estonian company and give us credit card payments kind of properly with a gateway and stuff. Many years later, they turned into kind of complete assholes, and we moved away from them. And for the last week, like pretty much every day, I'm like, yes. I'm really glad we moved away from them.
But I remember that the first company which started to pay, wasn't it Fortuma or somebody Estonian?
The first customer was Estonian, the second one was from the US.
Yeah, but US actually, Hardy Mayubam, I think that made intro. Somebody from Chicago or whatever, Boston most likely. But remember that the one thing what we learned was that Estonia is a cool country, no market. Just don't ever think about Bolt, hi, approved. It's different story. But in our case, the second client was from US, and then we had this like device when every time we got money in to do.
Yeah. So one thing that I realized was that when you have a subscription business, it's really freaking difficult to understand how much you're making money. Because kind of the money comes in small bits, and kind of once you have more than 10 customers, it's completely impossible to understand how much money you're making. So Toivonen actually had to build a separate piece of software that was counting our money. And as a side benefit, he also kind of programmed in that it was making sounds when money came in. So we hooked up a boombox in the office, and every time money came in, when it was a new customer, it was kind of a gong sound, and kind of when it was an existing customer, it was ka-ching. And at first it was funny until we became successful. And then it was like ching ching gang gang, ching ching gang gang. So we needed to shut it down at some point. But it was a lot of fun in the beginning.
Yeah, but so then we applied to the Y Combinator. We applied to Techstars New York, and I already
didn't get in.
Yeah, no. The best thing, I actually was flying to the California together with Timo to the Y Combinator interview, which is actually 10 minutes. So you fly like no one flies anymore, but back in days. So I fly in. So not I.
There were these things called planes.
Yes, go down. So we fly. We spend like whatever, all money what we have. I'm not kidding. We spent all money what we had to flying to the Y Combinator interview, and we met. And this interview is fucking 10 minutes, like 10 fucking minutes, and you spend like week back and forward. And then I think that my phone was some international contact, and you get the message or whatever. Nope. It's like fucking hell. So we fly back and we are losers is 2011 now, May or June. And then, I don't know why, but why did I fly to California back? It was some kind of discussion. I should just fly in and stay there until we got my...
One thing to know about Pipedrive was that kind of we weren't your usual average kind of 20-something founder with no family and no ties. So all of us had some sort of family. So most of us had kids. Many had many kids. You also had a kid, but you didn't have a wife. So that was kind of made it easier for
I
you.
had a dog.
Yeah, yes, you had a dog, but I think we kind of picked Ragnar because he didn't have a wife. And like, you go to Silicon Valley. Initially, it was planned for 2 weeks. Go there, find us an investor or advisor or something. And he ended up staying for 3 months.
6 months. I actually, like...
Well, 3 months until you got us into AngelPad.
Yeah, and then I needed to fly back to Estonia, be here a week to Garage 48 Tartu and fly back. So, but the cool news is that it was 2011 June, and I think that one crucial moment was Naval, founder of AngelList, and I still know up to today why the hell he liked us. Like, we used AngelList, and you know what he did? AngelList was a very young startup at the moment. It was in the 11th June and July, and he added Pipedrive into the AngelList presentation, showing this is funded by startup. And people called me like, I want to know Naval. I said, I have never met him, by the way. And actually, now I have met back in 2011, whatever, twice even. And, he one moment said, yes, we can meet. And then moment, it is June now. We applied 500. We applied Techstars Seattle. I have been Seattle. And AngelPad. And AngelPad, dun dun. Why did we pick AngelPad? Do you remember?
So first of all, AngelPad, an accelerator in San Francisco, we had never heard of AngelPad here in Estonia. We knew about Techstars, we knew about 500 startups, never heard of AngelPad. But the local people were saying that it's really, really good. And it was mostly focused on B2B startups, which was rare. Kind of most of the other accelerators at that time were focused on B2C. And it was really small batches, like 10, 12 companies, something like that. So it was kind of boutique, and the founder was German, Thomas, and it sounded like a better option than kind of going into a big batch in a fully American accelerator that's mostly B2C, and it was a really good decision going to AngelPad.
Because literally, I remember the small thing that we did, we removed 80% content, our conversion growing 3 times. The one thing. Second thing, we launched Portuguese version in that times.
Yeah, so somehow, I don't know what stupid connection there is between Estonia and Brazil, but there is some sort of a chemistry going on. It shouldn't be. There's kind of no two countries more dissimilar, I guess. Kind of one is really small and cold, and people are kind of introverted mostly, and the other one is big and and hot, and kind of people are outgoing. But there is some connection, and one of these connections, other than I don't know, TransferWise and Orkut and kind of also Pipedrive now. Is that we started getting so many early users from Brazil, and they started asking us for a Portuguese version of the software. And we knew that localization is a pain in the ass. From United Talks, we had 5 or 6 different languages, and we knew it's really, really bad. We shouldn't do it. And that was one of the decisions we made early on. Like, we're not going to translate Pipedrive into anything. It's going to be in English, and that's it. And the Brazilians twisted my arm until I gave up and said, okay, like I gave up. So we launched Pipedrive in Brazilian and Portuguese. And then the third language was Estonian. Like, once you have kind of 2 languages, it's pretty easy to add the third. And kind of Tauri is actually by education, he's an Estonian philologist.
No, he didn't finish university.
Well, yeah, but he studied it. So kind of he's pretty good at Estonian as well. So kind of he translated Pipedrive into Estonian. So that was that story. And also, yeah, the story about kind of the website. We had this really beautiful website with a lot of text on it, and we were pretty proud of it. And kind of the people at the accelerator said, kind of, no one wants to read all of that text. Like, it's just too much. So one night, me and Timo, we took a 6-pack of beer and we installed Optimizely on the website. It's a kind of piece of code, and you can kind of start doing versions of the website. and measure how many clicks you get on the buttons. And one of the versions got smaller and smaller. And the more beer we had, the more braver we got, the more we took away from the website, until this one version turned out kind of really small, really minimum. We even took away the logo because it was attached to the menu. And we wanted to get rid of the menu. So the logo went as well. And the subscribe button went further up. And next morning, we were looking at the numbers and, oh shit, we were getting 3 times as many signups as before on that version. So kind of for a while, the Pipedrive website was super minimum. There was this kind of Porsche dashboard with kind of sales numbers and then the big green button sign up. And people signed up in hordes. Some of them, I got to say, were kind of kids that thought it was a racing game. But most of them still were kind of legitimate people, kind of started using the CRM, and yeah, times were good after that.
I remember that actually, first of all, we got a complaint from Lift99 because the guy who has Porsche, actually, I haven't had ever. I still don't have it. I have a Jaguar, sorry. He said, this looks like a Porsche dashboard. You shouldn't do that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he was pretty pissed that we kind of took the Porsche dashboard.
Yeah. But the other thing is that, we had, so that time we still Silicon Valley, we're getting traction. It's just crazy. We got few angel investors, and one of them was Andy. And we go to bar, and he's super proud. He invested these Estonian guys, and he's telling his girlfriend, look, this guy is from Pipedrive. And Kerf is asking, oh, Pipedrive, is this a porn website?
Yeah, many people, kind of, especially in San Francisco area, people have a different mindset. So many people think it's a Grindr competitor.
No, they think that driving a pipe, means something different. It wasn't the porn website, turned out good, but anyway, so we have demo day, everything went well. We go pitch like hell. And we don't get any money, by the way.
Yeah, no, everyone still thought, well, most people still thought it's a stupid idea.
Yeah, and we, first of all, people like, that is Salesforce, and are you crazy? So we went back to Estonia, and this was most likely 2011, November, 2012, April. One of the toughest times because I think we was fine, but I remember times that I was the only founder by Estonian banks who is kind of okay, because all other founders was not financially stable.
Yeah, during the years, there have been kind of really morbid Pipedrive parties where we have these panels where kind of all of the founders are on stage, and then people are fighting each other on kind of who had the toughest time during that time. Timo wins by kind of, by a big margin because he had 2 kids, but the wife was pregnant. He was in Silicon Valley, kind of left the wife back at home. His cars were taken away by the bank. The gas was turned off. What else bad happened? Oh, he had a back surgery at the same time. So Urmas comes in as a kind of really close second because kind of he had a brain surgery right before going to Silicon Valley. Also kind of moved to the country into a kind of broken down farmhouse. So kind of, some people had it really tough. Because we were unemployed before Pipedrive, it was much easier for me because I didn't kind of have anything much anyway.
Yeah, and I was anyway biggest loser in Estonian history, so you can't go lower than that. So which means that, but what happens that so we sent it out monthly updates. 2012 actually in April we sent out update, which was I think that from that point I think that pretty much all things has gone up, I would say, because the update was literally we are break even, take it or leave it. And what happened, many people received that, and we closed this funding now. Then
well, there was a moment where we actually had to decide now, because after AngelPad we came back, worked for a winter, got to 1,000 customers and kind of break even, and we could have gone on this way, just kind of hire when we can, grow slowly, be profitable, never raise money again. That was an option. And the other option was to kind of try to raise money again, kind of hit the gas, hire more people, grow faster. And we sat around the table, looked at each other, and kind of made a decision to kind of let's try to raise money again. Because back then it was still kind of really important to be in the US, to be in Silicon Valley. All of the investors had said kind of it would be much easier to fund an Estonian company if kind of some of you were actually here, stuff like that. And that all required a lot of money. So yeah, we decided to try again. And that moment when we didn't need the money at all, so many people wanted to give us money.
Yeah, but actually it wasn't big money. I think we fundraised 700,000 or 800,000 was like that first round.
Well, that was quite a lot of money back then.
Yeah, but now it's nothing.
And it was over a Skype call.
Yeah.
So we never actually physically met any of the investors. It was just kind of they looked at the numbers over the Skype call and kind of just wired it. So
actually we had one historical meeting, which you wasn't a part of. We had meeting with very famous venture, which is Google Ventures. And they liked us and they was like, we want to write your term sheet, which is the best news. You are like, yeah, one condition. You just relocate all of the people from Estonia to Bay Area. And I was like, fucking hell. And we said, no. Term sheet never received our mailbox. But anyway, 2012. And from that moment, I think that it's just, party after that or kind of what happened. Because you was relocating to US, I was the only one who managed not to.
There were still things going on, and kind of 2014 also kind of we ran out of money and kind of couldn't really find an investor. So at that
we
moment,
had actually, we had term sheet. We can tell that without name, indeed. Even I don't give a fuck because I didn't sign this contract. But we had a term sheet from the very respectable. Luckily, I don't remember. Otherwise, I would tell the name. Said from VC who signed term sheet, took our data and said. No, never work.
But they didn't like our churn. Pipedrive is famous for having a really big number of really small customers, and these customers oftentimes just go bankrupt. So there's a
often means 2% of the churn monthly.
Well, yes, kind of churn is 3% monthly, but kind of a big part of it is kind of the small companies. They didn't like that churn. Because they were always kind of looking at slightly bigger companies, kind of companies that had slightly bigger customers that didn't go out of business that often. So they didn't give us money. We were running out of money. And we were also kind of really, really picky with our investors. Part of it was because kind of we had some experiences with bad investors. So kind of we decided we're not going to take money from anybody that's just willing to give us money. We also kind of want to have a good fit that would understand a company from Estonia, a company that had tens of thousands of small customers and yada, yada. So big trouble raising money. And then again, Brazilians.
Yeah. So I'm just, like, I don't know why. Brazil has paid emergence like impact for the Pipedrive history because I happened to fly to Brazil and I remember I opened an email which says that this famous VC, luckily I don't remember the name, otherwise I would tell it because I'm Estonian citizen, I don't give a fuck about US, it's anyway dying now. So, sorry, not dying, it's just going down in the Silicon Valley way. But I met with some guy in Brazil and this VC, which I can proudly say Monashis, I wanted to meet with you. Why? All of his portfolio was using one product only. It is Pipedrive. Brazilian VC wanted to meet and it was like, I had meeting Eric, the partner. He liked us so well, and he said, "We want to speak with you seriously." And Dada say, I think it was 1 million on like
1 million, yeah, and it saved us.
Yeah, because we had like options. We had venture loan or venture whatever, like the same.
Yeah. If there's another thing you can take out of this video thingy today, a fireside without the fire, is that kind of venture debt. Is a bad thing. Don't do it.
We didn't do because they offered us loan, but you should give away 1 or 2%, which will found out not good to.
Venture debt is a scam. Like you take a loan, you pay it back with interest, and you still need to give away a part of your company. Don't do it.
So we got this 1 million, which saved everything, and then we in 2015, Dada Bessemer.
Yeah, and after that, it's been kind of.
Yeah,
like same old, kind of raise money, open offices, hire amazing people, grow quickly, and here we are.
Yeah, and Mari's showing me 4 minutes, no way. But the one thing I want to highlight, I think that in the hiring thing, please go and speak with Bolt people, not with Pipedrive people. I like that, I mean, the top management. I like that Markus Villig has hired this very young guns and just, teach them and so on. We have not good track record hiring US people, sorry.
No, we have some amazing US people at Pipedrive, but we were just really bad at hiring really high ranking people.
Like CEOs or something.
Well, anything starting with a C has, hasn't worked out too well. But there are some exceptions.
Yeah, no, still, Dominic is amazing CFO.
Yeah. But when we hired Sergey, he wasn't the CTO yet.
Oh my God! And hiring. Sorry, we have to go over the time. The hiring of Sergey is the lifetime story. Sergey is literally, I think that his impact to company is exactly like a co-founder.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we wouldn't be here without Sergey. Definitely not.
Yeah. So like he was life changing. Like we hired Sergey when we, like literally Oit, who was working in Twilio, our advisor said, you just can't hire him. I will eat my hat. Oh, you haven't done that yet. So
yeah, Oit, if you're listening,
eat your fucking hat finally. So he hasn't done that. He said you can't hire him because
he said you need someone like Sergey. So look at him, find someone similar because you can't get him. And then Ragnar was of course like, watch me, hold my beer.
So Sergey had 2 offers on the table, and the background, he was working in Skype, was head of Skype for Microsoft. Let me just remind, Skype was owned by Microsoft. So it was literally the most important product and super amazing guy. And he had 2 offers on the table.
I think it was Skype for Windows 8 or something like
that.
Yeah.
But 2 offers.
The new Windows.
Pipedrive, TensorWise. And what he picked? I think it's a lifetime chance. And, he today, his company is the most amazing guy. He's extremely, like, in our culture, humble guy. And he's just, one of the base things why Pipedrive is today where we are now.
Yeah, no question about it.
So so you was living in California, and then you was going to the Lisbon, and now Portuguese entrepreneur. Tell us that life, because like I was lucky, I never turned into the US.
Are we out of time now?
Yeah, but I will take few questions so we can go 5-10 minutes out of time. But the point is that you was the guy the one thing which was amazing about Pipedrive, we relocated co-founders. In one moment, we had 3 of them in California, and then you was going to Lisbon. Tell about that.
We also came back to Tallinn and spent 3 years here, and Tyra and I and a bunch of other amazing people also built this building, the Pipedrive building in Tallinn. That was nice. And then I moved to Lisbon. Yeah, spent a couple of years there. And then
now you're retired.
Now I'm retired. Yeah.
And you do investments, because we promised to talk about few minutes like investment life, which is so much different.
It is. What do you want to talk about investment?
I don't know, like you have done now 15 or 20 investments.
21.
So you are the most active actually.
Might be out of the 3 of us, me and you and the other Martin. I'm you are the most active one for sure. I've just done more investments than you have. So that's different.
Okay, so I was yesterday counting, and 44 deals is different entities, what any of us has done at least one. We have together Restream. I think that just amazingly, crazily.
You are watching this thing on Restream, by
yes,
the way.
Restream, we are investor in Restream. Restream, by the way, Ukraine company, has 6,000 churches as a paying clients. Fucking beat that. Glory, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. So the next company we have done together is Klaus, which is
Klaus is amazing. If you need to review or support tickets and make sure that you have quality support, use Klaus. Martin Koiva is
ex-Pipedrive. And then we don't have any, which we have done 3 years, but we are together in Printify, again, super amazing Latvian guy, no 6 toes.
Can you make that joke in 2020?
No, I think that in Estonia I can.
I'm pretty sure that next week there will be Latvians on the street. Latvian lives matter. No more 6-toe jokes.
Are you sure? I think that so there's new times. Anyway, so but everything else, you have done even investment to Nigeria.
I have, yeah.
It's happened.
Actually, Clean Agent is coming live tomorrow. So not in this room probably, but on the live stream. If you happen to live in Lagos and you need your clothes cleaned, in a safe way, check out Clean Agent.
But how basically out of this 21 investment we have talked now, tell us how, because for me it's so difficult. Like I have even written a blog post, and I really wanna. The biggest thing is from chemistry and impact, and why the hell I should spend time. What is your theory? Who you invest and how you invest?
Well, I do need to like the founders, obviously, but it's funny to say that I'm more emotional than you are when making investment decisions, but I think I am. So kind of sometimes I kind of do it really fast, and kind of something clicks about the company, and I just kind of make a decision. And most of the time, it has turned out well. Not always, but kind of yeah. But it's really difficult to say. Kind of now, I've seen enough different ones that it's really difficult to say kind of that's my playbook. I have some kind of things about kind of evaluating them and stuff like that, but it's difficult to say. Mostly B2B startups, mostly European, now kind of one from Africa, SaaS, stuff like that I know, so that I can evaluate the company, understand what they're doing, hopefully also add some value if they need to. Yeah.
Because I have one thing which I added, like, first of all, I want to invite this founder to my home to have a dinner. If no, I'm not investing. I want to feel that if I wouldn't do anything like you're a pensioner, then I would love to join this startup as a co-founder. You know, I want to hire and all of those things. And most importantly, I can help, and they can next day call to Atomic, all of these amazing, or not only amazing VCs, and tell them, oh my God, I invested to that. So that's my criteria. And I remember Restream is actually the best story ever was that when Alex was in Estonia, by the way, you met him in Estonia in my this small country house. Yeah.
Manner.
Okay, so Alex was sending us a reminder, like, please, we agreed the deal. And Martin Tajur actually was reading a reminder, and the reminder was, please do the fire, like, you know, fire transfer, like money transfer. And he did transfer without contract and sending us, yes, I did a wire transfer. I said, Martin, you didn't actually sign the contract first.
You shouldn't tell that story publicly, dude.
Why? That's
So
because
he will get a bunch of emails tomorrow.
No, people don't know his email. You can email to me, by the way. I'm just but anyway, like, that's the amazing thing, that if you like the founder, you will go totally off the road, you know. And Alex, believe me, we have tomorrow Fireside with him, is the person which is one of the best example. Like, I'm also founder in Verif. Karel is just like extremely nice guy, and, you know, literally my best investment by far. And I think that this thing what I learned is that if somebody says you listen to the story and you like it, and this is how you get in.
Yeah. Well, in many ways, it's a lot of dating. For example, last year I went to this Techstars event, and the idea was that I would meet all of the 10 founders in the batch and kind of get to know them. And then I spent all of the evening with one of them, because kind of he just was really exciting, a young guy doing amazing things. I was kind of totally blown away, kind of spoke to him all night. And then kind of, didn't see the rest of them until the next day. So ended up investing Circuit. Amazing thing if you happen to be a courier making your kind of planning your routes and want to get home 1 hour earlier. Kind of, again, maybe kind of you are there. Check out Circuit. It's amazing.
So we can take a few questions now because we are really out of time. We have actually possibility to take live questions. That's a magic. Shout us, I will repeat you. Yes.
Okay, so imagine you're starting over. You have no money, no team, no idea, no contacts. What's your strategy?
So question was, if we would start over, how we were doing it? No money, no strategy. You should take that one.
I guess the main thing is to start doing something. As you heard, kind of our story is so freaking random, so many turns, so many failures, so much shit happening. And then kind of someone will one day kind of read an article about Pipedrive going public or kind of being sold, and kind of you're suddenly an overnight success after kind of 15 years of hard work. Doing something. So if you don't learn to code or don't learn to do something, then kind of it's a big chance that you don't turn out to be anything. So if you don't know anyone, go to, I don't know, garage events and kind of learn to know people, kind of try to get over your introversion and then talk to people, or become really, really good at something, and then people will seek you out. I figured out that it's much easier to go to conferences if you speak, and you have 20 minutes of really, really horrible time on stage, but later people will come talk to you, and it's really easy. You don't have to kind of approach random people.
So the one thing I learned, the challenge is here is that if I look, the best investment what we made is that they had very strong, like already results. But if I look emotionally, I enjoy these things which I feel the impact. And that's the thing. If you can connect those things, if you really understand that, because there's no question you have extremely harsh times, like black and white. Like, it's not the question you would fail. The question is how many times you fail. And the question is, if you're failing, what gets you back on the feet and going on? If you don't have this reason and the drive and everything, you lose the game. Because your chances of succeeding is, if you I don't have any experience, everything else is like 1 to 2%. If you have experience, it might be 5%. And maybe up to 10, but not more. So it's like kamikaze. You need to tell you are failing anyway. But if in this way you learn and make an impact, then you're a winner anyway. So instead of maybe founding, I would today look the most amazing company and join, learn, and then going to the thing. Because then you are maybe get nice stock options. We have at least, how many Pipedrivers we have here? 2, 3? 3. So join Pipedrive, you can still learn many things, not poppy.
Pipedrive is kind of too late to get any options. You need to join something more early stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Very kind of.
Okay, so
that was kind of 5 years ago.
Email me, I can recommend you. I am investor also in actually 20. How we have only 44? Because I have also 20-ish.
I think you counted wrong.
No, I didn't count. But this is maybe we have overlap so big, like Landbeat, Printify, and so on. And so we have companies which we have at least 2 investment. So that's why I'm surprised, because if you have 20, I have 20.
Let's figure it out after the live stream.
Okay, let's take more. Please.
We're basically at the same stage now where Pipedrive was in 2011. Break even, trying to figure out how we grow. Either we go the slow and profitable way, or do we look at VC money? What's your experience looking back? What are the pros and cons of the decision you took? What do you think differently now?
So the question is, if you can choose growing by your own finance or taking VC money, I think that if you can grow 100% without VC money, just do that. You need to understand VCs want to sell their share in the time span of 10 years. That's how VCs work. So
yeah, for most of the companies I invest in, I always kind of remind them, or kind of first of all, I ask them, why are you raising money? Do you know what you're getting into? And I'm glad we did the way we did, that we raised money for Pipedrive many times over, and kind of amazing experiences, building that building, opening offices all over the world. I was able to relocate with my family to California, to Lisbon. Amazing experiences, a lot of growth, a lot of learnings, but it's definitely not easy. Kind of growing a company from 5 people to 500 people, it's a pain in the ass. It's not fun most of the time, or like you have a lot of fun, but it's also kind of really, really painful. But it seems to me that for most people, kind of, I guess they need to go through it once themselves, and then maybe kind of on the second time around they take the slow and steady route. Although lately I've seen many more companies taking the slow and steady route, and it's becoming more popular. So if you look at kind of Buffer and Wistia, they bought out their investors. Kind of you have the Basecamp guys that kind of have always been on that in that camp. You have Toggle on the wall that has been kind of doing this slow and steady, and they're doing amazing. So it's definitely an option. and kind of both take a long time. And yeah, you need to figure it out for yourself. Kind of if you want to have a really kind of steep rides, or you want to have a more of a slow and steady. And there's no guarantees with the slow and steady. Kind of you could still kind of mess things up and kind of go bankrupt with the slow and steady. So it's not a sure thing, but it's just kind of you will have more say about how you run your company, how it will look like, kind of decisions you make, people you hire, and kind of if you go the slow and steady route, you will have a much smaller chance of kind of being not working in your own company.
So like there is no, but I would say that the challenge what we have now is as well as that starting a company is so easy now. If you're getting successful, there will be 10 or 15 like copycats immediately. We had copycat in Russia who literally copied our like code into levels that you open the front end and you see Estonian like, you know, letters and Estonian comments literally.
Well, like not just comments. They took all of the front end with wget, just kind of everything, and they didn't even bother to delete the Pipedrive logos. So you could kind of go to, what was it, kind of clientobox.ru and then kind of / Pipedrive logo, and it was still kind of serve. That was fun. They built a new backend for it, but kind of yeah, that shit happens.
So the challenge is now that, you know, there are so many hungry guys worldwide. If you're getting successful, you will have copycats. You need to think how I can compete with them. Most likely, the best scenario is mixing it, going with your own speed, taking investments as your team members who work for you. Exactly, that's the best scenario. But I will take one question still, like last questions now. Maido Janke, co-founder of ACL, asking from you, Martin. If you invest, what is the value you feel is the worst, number one, you want to add? That's like, you know, what is value what you're adding to startup if you're investing?
So yeah, I guess we add very different value. So I kind of rarely make any investor intros, for example. That's not my thing. Many angels do. I don't. I add value mostly kind of. I've run product for many years at Pipedrive. I also kind of run support. So kind of sometimes if people need specific help with product or support or reorganizing things, kind of, I saw the company go from 5 people to 500, went through so many reorgs that I don't care to remember. I can help with these things. And then also kind of one thing I learned during Pipedrive was hiring. I was really shit at hiring in the beginning, and then we got a lot of coaching. And over the years, I got better. So now I kind of try to transfer that. Hiring is one of the most critical things you can do. So if you hire bad people, anything else you do doesn't matter. So I kind of try to help with that a little bit. Kind of, I can be a shoulder to cry on if needed. I've done that a little bit. Kind of, Anneli has said that kind of I'm made of Teflon, so kind of you can come and kind of cry on my shoulder, and I don't get upset. So yeah, that's the main things I add.
Yeah, I think that what is unique about Martin is that exactly he understands so many. I think that you have had most of the hats in the company. Like I never had so many hats like you. Head of support, CTO, head of product. Anything I'm missing?
No, that's it, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is 3 different areas, which is.
So I can talk
I was
about
a steel maker.
technology.
I had like my first business card was steel maker, and I made the deals. I ended up pushing us heavily in fundraising, in hiring, going global and so on. But anyway, I think that we already so much like talked more. We need to take off now. This was actually historic. I think we have never been on the stage publicly telling about United Dog story. We're so open-minded. Thank you for Lendav Taldrik giving us some pre-wines before. Helped heavily, like being more open, you know, being honest, because that's the way it is. Like I want to be just frankly honest so that every founder understand what kind of risks you have if you pick different things. And we definitely enjoying still the fact that we are Pipedrive founder. But by the way, it's last question. So what do you think? Like today, 600 people, more than 90,000 paid clients. I would love to give the revenue number. They would shoot me to the head. I can't tell that. So what do you think? Where would Pipedrive now end up? Because I remember Timo had a dream said we will be bigger than Salesforce, and I don't think it will happen. But what is your prediction?
I don't know. We always had the dream of kind of going public by 2020, and that's obviously not happening. Other than that, kind of the next thing I would really like to see is 100,000 customers.
This is happening anyways, no question.
Well, kind of the revenue is growing faster than the number of customers these days. So it kind of
I have insight.
Well, kind of looking forward to it. So that was always my dream, getting to 100K customers.
So I think that as well as at Pipedrive, I would predict this, and I'm lucky not to be contracted with some contracts here, so I can be public. I predict that it will one day will be public. No one knows when, not in the next 2 years because of these up and downs, but Pipedrive has so strong team still. Like exactly we talked about Sergey, we have people like Oksana, we have like, you know, so many great people still around. We just hired new CEO, but like we have these nice buildings in Tallinn and Tartu. This is like the best story ever in Tartu building. My mom is proud, no question. Office in Lisbon, in Prague, London.
Yeah, Pipedrive should build a building in Haapsalu.
So
that my mom would be proud.
I am from Tartu, he's from Haapsalu, but we have building in Tartu, not in Haapsalu. So and we have office now in Riga. So Latvians, hi. And this was the first startup we acquired, which happened to my intro. So if you want to be acquired by Pipedrive, just figure out my email. Just send me email. Let's talk. This will be next story. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Henk. You know, we never dreamed that 2006 that we have this kind of nice chat, you know. And we can say that if you want us to invest, figure out the emails. We do investing. We have now Salto Camp. We just talked today in dinner one company which I liked a lot. Tayur as well. You're not sure, but we are thinking even now like investing because you know this is still fun. I like investing. Next day I will do fire. I lost that money, but this feeling is good.
Yeah, that's been kind of one of the best things in the last couple of years. So kind of investing in startups, helping out at Techstars Lisbon, kind of doing these mentoring sessions and stuff like that. That's the best thing ever.
Yeah. So that's, you should try. One moment you can give back to community. That's what we do with Henk now. And with Tayur, 44 investments. I think that we are the most active angel group in, not even the Baltics, but most likely in the Europe as well, because it's happened last 2 years.
Ragnar has always been really good at rounding up.
Yes.
So as soon as we had 60 customers at Pipedrive, it's like, we have 100 customers.
That's why we are here with Pipedrive. Okay, thank you guys. It was really nice chat. Thank you guys for that. We have tomorrow talk with Alex from Restream, which I swear to God is the hottest shit now in Silicon Valley. Getting so much like VC's cold emailing. We never had that in Pipedrive. We have tomorrow at same time, just online. Thank you. Bye-bye.